Hello, wonderful people. How are you doing? This is your host on Life of Value TV. This is Mercy. So today we're going to look at those things you need to try to do before you are 35. Life is transient. We cannot determine how long we will live in this planet Earth. So you must try as much as possible to be conscious of how you live your life. You must try to strive to do the right things, early in life. As much as each and every one of us, have different timelines to achieve certain things, it's also important that you do it at the right time. Now, a child of 3 years, still has to be in the nursery, and that child needs to work in the same pace as other children of his age. Putting a child of 7 in the nursery one class wouldn't make so much sense because the child will grow up to see or will be aware that this other of classmate of mine, I'm way older than them. So what am I doing here? It's good you start your life early. It's good you start doing things when your mates are doing them. Yes, you know, having your first child when you're 60, I would say it's not too good. Yes. Aside, there are certain circumstances that will make one to, you know, experience some challenges. But if all is right, if all is well, there are timelines you need to beat when as soon as possible. Now, before you're 35, it is assumed you should at least have basic education up to the first degree. You know, in this part of the world, especially in Africa, you know, we value education as much as other people value education in other parts of the world. But in this our time, education is important. So before 35, no matter what you're going, the challenges you face before, getting admission and all of that, it's expected that you should have gotten your first degree. And it will make sense because you start on time to work. If you want to do business, you start on time. Before 35, you should be able to boast of a certain level of savings. I'm not saying everyone should be a millionaire. It's important to also be a millionaire or even a billionaire. But at 35, you should be able to have a savings to be able to take care of yourself. At 35, you're not supposed to be dependent, you know, on your parents. So before 35, before 30, I must say, you should be able to take care of yourself. You should be able to take care of yourself. And I must say, even people at this age have started taking care of their siblings, their younger ones, and even sometimes their parents. So before you're 35, you should be able to work out strategies on how to fend for yourself. Now, I want to talk about the issue of marriage. Many people are not so lucky to marry very early, but with what is happening in this time, with what we have seen, it's important that one settles down before 35. Now, there are exceptions. I'm not saying I am mindful that there are challenges, and I'm mindful there are situations one can find him or herself. But this is the general rule. This is for me a general rule. Then there are certain exceptions, or there will always be exceptions. So please don't misinterpret what I'm trying to say. So before 35, you should at least be in a relationship heading towards marriage, or you would have married. Don't allow yourself to be caged in the name of engagement. As a young lady, you've been dating a guy for 3 years. You see that it's not, you don't even know where the relationship is, heading to. You don't even know your stand. It's better you quit than, someone using an engagement ring to confuse you. So before 35, it's expected that you've settled down maritally or you are in a deep relationship that will lead to marriage. If you are not in a relationship that you don't even understand the status, I advise you that step out from that boat because it will head, it will lead you to an unpleasant destination because 2 years, 3 years, 1 year is enough for you to define what you're doing with a lady or what you're doing with a guy. Now, before you're 35, you should be able to have your own business for those who want to do business. I found out in this little time I've spent on this planet Earth that uh, we should be able to nurture our passion early in life. Because of the quest for formal education, we turn a blind eye to certain passions that we have, certain ideas that we have. But in the Western world, when people have such ideas, they start on time to nurture it. And before you know it, it grows to become a big business, an empire, you know, something that is worthwhile. But we wait to maybe finish school before we launch out. Before you're 35, you should have your own business if you have passion for it. You know, once you have these ideas, even if start noting them down, start noting them at 15, at 16, you have great ideas of this is what I want to do. Start noting them down and you can launch out. Read stories of how people that you know are doing so well started. There are startups that are thriving and they're thriving well. So before 35, you should have charted a course for yourself. Is it business I want to do? You should have started it. Is it okay, this work I want to do? Maybe you're in that work or you are working for yourself. You should be doing something meaningful. Anyone at 35 that has not been able to, even locate your balance, like locate the way you're heading towards or where you're heading to or what the plan for your life is, then you're heading the wrong way. At 35, even before 35, you should be running your own company, managing that business, or you're already in a work environment, or you're working and you are in the space that you want to be. At 35, someone should not cajole you to work where you don't want to work, or because you're working there because of money. It should be that you're working there because you have prospect for career growth, or you're working there to get experience to launch out to start yours. You should not be there because at 35, you should not be working for money. At 35, no, no, no. You should not be working for money. Another thing I want to say is that before 35, you should be able to start leaving legacies. Yes, you should be able to start leaving legacies for yourself. What are those things that, even if you're no more, that people can use to remember you? You should be able to start leaving legacies. If you need to write a book, write a book. If you need to compose a song, do it. If you need to, you know, put up your business, the global map, do it. There must be something that you be remembered for. Yes, start leaving legacies. Start leaving legacies behind. Now, from the point of the professional, training, I must say that before 35, you should be able, to have your will. Yes, as much as we do not pray for that, um, before 35, you should be able to say, "This I have a will." Yeah, some people feel this is strange. It's not strange. You should be able to have a documented document, a document that states, okay, what's life, what we know. what you intend or how you intend your estate to be run. Peradventure, you know more. At 35, you are matured and you should be able to not to allow your life to be, to be a mess after you know more. Yeah, as much as we believe God for long life, we should also prepare for life after death. Yes. This is life of value. We talk about value. How is your life going to be valuable? So you're supposed to make impact? Why should you make impact? Why should I live out purpose? That is what this channel is all about. Peradventure, you're watching this video and you're over 35, you don't have a will. You should get one. You getting a will doesn't mean you will not live long. Rather, it means that you're thoughtful. You are planning. You are having in mind that I can leave this earth one day, and I will leave this earth one day. How will my estate be managed in my absence? Remember that you've made a will today doesn't mean that's how it's going to be permanent. You have to have room to modify, do some alterations, add a lot of things to your will. But it's very important. Now, before 35, you should be able, as I've said it earlier, you should be able to have a business, and that business should be registered. Don't just do something like a person without knowledge. You should have a business that is registered. Your company should be registered. The business name, your enterprise should be registered. Yes, it should be registered. Then, not just that it is registered, and you should be able to have concrete business plan. Peradventure, you will need to do some collaboration. Now, one of the things that has limited people in their business is that do not have their minds are not open for bigger things. They feel, yeah, I'm running the dry cleaning shop. That is where it should get. You should be able to put your ideas to a plan. This is where I want to be in the next 5 years. This is your goals. Your plan should be able to bring out your goals, long-term goals, short-term goals. This is what I want to achieve in the next 5 years. You should have a roadmap. Let me just call it before 35, you should have a roadmap, like how you want your life to be. You draw it out. These are things I'm supposed to achieve before I'm 31. These are things I'm supposed to achieve before I'm 35. These are things I'm supposed to achieve at this put age on each of the listed goals. It helps us to strive to attain it. It's like your vision. The Bible says we should write it out, let it be plain, so that you can see what you are aspiring to be or what you want to come. So write it down, write it down, write it down, timelines to each of your goals. So it's saying business plan. I also mean to say your vision map. You should have a vision map. What do you want to achieve? What is it that you look out for? What is it that you want your life to be? How do you want to see yourself in the next 3 years, 2 years? Write it out and let it be plain. Put it where you'll be seeing it every time. Now, another more important thing is that before you're 35, you should be able to have an identifiable, you know, a means of identification. I would say it's sad to know that some people do not even have a valid identification card, or identification document. It shows responsibility. You should be able to be identified with something, because you should, before 35, you're a full-blown adult that should be able to, they should have a voter's card or international passport or the national ID card. You should have something that should be able to identify you as a national of a country. Then before 35, you should learn how to drive. Yeah, learn how to drive is a necessity. Even if you don't have a car, learn how to drive. Learn how to drive is very important. Very, very, very important. You say, yeah, but is it necessary? It is. Just learn it. Then, even if you don't have a car, the car will come. For the for the male folk that watch this video, I want to put this as an advice. Do not wait to gain the whole world before you settle down. Do not wait to have all the billions before you settle down. The older you become, the more complex your taste of who you want to be, of the lady you want. The taste, the older you become, I feel your taste as to life partner changes and becomes more complex. Marry, the Bible even says you should marry, you should enjoy the wife of your youth, not the wife of your old age. Marry when you're young, when you should be able to, yeah, start life with this your partner. You want to have the mansion, the houses, the cars before you start. Mm-mm, it's not a good advice. So before you're 35, for the males, please try and settle down. Just like I've earlier said, though they're selling this for some people, but do not engage a lady for a long time. Do not allow a lady to engage you for a long time. It's both ways. So settling down before 35 is very important. Very, 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 very important. You know, I've talked about looking out for, establishing um, businesses for